Hello, my crafty friends. Today we're going to make a tip-in, but using the edge of the envelope to tip it in with a small journal tucked inside. And so we're going to use these two little envelopes to make our little journal. And um, then it fits right in here. And then we're going to use this envelope for our tip-in. And this is the size of the card that went in these envelopes. So I'm going to use it to help me get um, the size of the paper I need. And you'll see this is a little bit bigger, wider, but I think that's okay. I don't think that's a big deal. Um, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the next line down. So it will also be about 5 inches. And this is 5 inches exactly. So we're going to go a little less than 5 inches. Okay, we're going to just go 4 3/4. All right, so there's, let's see, one, 7 pieces of paper. Now, after I fold these, I may decide that's more than I want, but I don't think I would want more than that. So, and we're just, now you'll notice they're blank on one side and lined on the other side. So I'm going to fold them alternating. And that way, no, actually I'm not, because that way, if I fold them all the same, then you will have one side that's plain and one side that's lined. So you could like draw over here and write over here or something if you want to. So we'll just go ahead and fold them all the same way. But you could alternate them, one folded one way and one folded a different way, and then you would have um, lines on, on one spread and blank on one spread. It just depends on what you want. And I'm using this paper mostly because it has some lines on it, and it was sitting here beside me. So, okay, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I don't think that's too thick, so we're going to use it. But first thing I want to do is put these two envelopes together to make our tuck spot, our cover. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue on the outside of this envelope so I can tuck it in the back of this one. And I'm not going to take it, I always have trouble when I do this. I should never do this on camera. I'm going to leave just a little bit of space, not take it all the way. And that will give us, and then we'll refold this to go over it. So that'll give us a little bit of space in here to work with. And now then I'm going to glue this down. Alrighty. So here's our book. There's the back. There's the inside. Here's the front. Now you can decide whether you want to have pockets in this little booklet or not. And this would probably be the best time to decide that. Oh, hold on 1 minute. Okay. So here's our cover, and it's 2 thicknesses here, but these are very flimsy envelopes, so it's not a really sturdy cover. So you could either put something over both sides of the front, like just for example, we could use this card. That's what came inside it, and that would make it sturdier. And that's not a bad idea. Actually, I think I want to use this card, but I'm just going to use it on the front. Oh, okay. Uh-oh, that wasn't what I had in mind. All right, well, we'll tear it a little bit more. We want to make it look intentional. Maybe not that intentional, but anyway. Okay. Now I need to decide, do I want to just ink up this and leave the back plain? Do I want to add some paper in here? This is just an example, but you could put some paper in here that goes around, you know, to cover the back. That's a good idea, actually. Let me see what I can find that will go with this. Be right back. Okay, I decided I'm going to use this, and it's going to go right here and be my back cover as well. So I need to decide where to trim it. Let's just make a straight edge here. Jelly printing rarely results in a straight edge. So now then, if I take this, let's all right, sorry, let's make another straight edge here. All right, this way I can line this up. Okay, it doesn't quite fit from that edge, which makes me know we're going to need to do it from over here. Let's go ahead and put this in. Straight. Okay. I'm gonna put that on the edge there, and then fold this over. This is the, I don't know, lazy way, I guess. And then I'm gonna tear right here. And I probably should have torn a little bit closer. See? That's what happens when you do it the lazy way. You end up tearing too close. All right, let's turn it over this way. No. I mean, just barely a little spot right there. Actually, this goes right out to the edge, and this does not. So I think I may change my mind. I can't use this necessarily, but I can put something else on top of it that will cover up right there. So I'm going to just go ahead and glue this on. Okay. Keep getting interrupted. Okay. Nope. I should have done this while the camera was paused. Okay. We're just going to have to ink around it because it is, one of the edges is not straight. I have found out recently, like since I started doing this 31 days project, that envelopes are, they're not always straight. So when you cut a straight edge and try to put it onto an envelope, it doesn't always work. And yet I still try. Okay. Okay, let's trim this off here. All right. I'm going to have to try to cover that up with my other piece that comes down here and just let a little bit of this show. So we'll see what I can come up with here that'll go with that. Maybe this. I don't know. One's architectural and the other one is maybe this one. That'll look good. All right, let me trim this. All right. Ah, good grief. Let's see if we can. I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, it's actually the opposite of what I need, so. Okay, so now this fits the front of the paper, but I want to kind of trim it here. So that's probably, that one doesn't work very well for me, so. Okay, so we can do it like this. And that'll be our book. And I should have inked that. See? It's all right. I can ink it now. It's not my personal favorite way to do it, but it can be done. Let's just go ahead and do this too. Oh, I accidentally trimmed there a little bit. Well, since I'm going to have to re-glue that part anyway, I'm going to trim the whole thing a little bit. Okay. So let's re-ink the top here from both sides. All right, now in here we're going to have to glue this shut. So this is the time when I have to decide, do I want pockets or not? And I don't think I do for this one. I've been doing a lot of pockety things lately, so I'm just going to glue that shut and glue this shut, and then we will glue some decorative paper on the inside to make our journal cover finished. All right. And let's see how this will look with this paper. I think that'll look nice. So this is what we're going to use for our inside. I'm just kind of scoring it a little bit with my fingernail so I know where to cut. But then you have to find the score lines. Okay. And right here. Okay. And we're going to glue this inside. And I'm going to decide this is the top. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and ink it now just because then I won't have to do it after I glue it on there. All right, let's fold this in half. And let's see if that Okay. And it's just a tad too tall. So I'm going to trim this off just a little bit. Which is not the easiest thing to do, but we did it. Now we'll re-ink it. Okay, now let's see if this works. All right, that side is still too tall. So I'm just going to trim it like this. There we go. And now, of course, we're going to re-ink it again. Third time's the charm. Okay. Now I know I want it to go like this. So I'm going to put my glue on this page, and then I'm going to set that down and glue just half of it at a time. Let's fold it, make sure it's in the crease. And now we will do this one. Okay. So here's our little journal cover. And then here's our signature. And we're just going to sew it inside this. It's going to make a cute little journal, I think. Let me put a clamp on it. Well, let's actually do it from up here. And then one from down here. Let me get my phone book. And my pokey tool, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. Okay. And I'm going to use this waxed linen thread. Out of my grandma's sewing box. I really like using that thread. It makes me feel close to her. Alrighty. There you go. And I'm going to tie this one from the inside. No special reason, just because that's what I decided I was going to do. The pamphlet stitch is such an easy stitch that makes this whole thing easy to do. Alrighty. Now you'll see that I came out on either side of that. And now I'm just going to tie this in a knot right around it. And that snugs it up good. And I'm going to tie two. With this waxed linen, you probably don't even need to, but anyway, I'm doing it anyway. And I'm going to leave those long just in case I decide I want to do something with them. I don't know that I will, but it's always better to leave your options open. You never know when you might get inspired to do something. All right, so there's my little journal. And then here is what we're going to tip it into the journal with. But I don't want this sticky stuff to be out, and we're going to glue it down so that it flips open like this. So I'm going to cut that off. Now when you do that with an envelope that's angled a little bit, you need to make sure this is the part that you push flush against this and not that, or you'll end up cutting it crooked. FYI. Okay. Now I'm going to, I think, cut this open right here, which gives us better access to our pocket. And I just think it looks nicer than having those standing across there. And this is a deep enough pocket that I can slide my journal in. It fits fine. It's not going to fall out because it's too shallow. But now I need to put something on the front and the back to decorate it. And right in here, I actually think I might, let's see if this will fit. No, so we'll just trim it off a little bit. That was a pretty good guesstimate. Not perfect, but pretty good. Okay. Okay, I'm going to trim this just a little bit more because this is just a little bit shorter than I want it to be. And the tip end doesn't have to be huge. If we do it with washi tape, we can do it with this much space. But I do want to cover the tip end here. That was not a good plan because it moved it. All right, let's see if this works now. Okay, now there's a little bit extra here, and that's all right. I'll just ink right there, and I'm going to have to ink over here and here anyway, so it's not a big deal. So let's go ahead and ink it up real quick first. Let's just ink this up too, because we're going to put paper on it. Might as well ink the whole thing. Let's do this side too. That'll be glued down, so it probably doesn't need to be inked really, but anyway. Now I don't know what kind of journal I'm going to put this in, so I'm going to do a generic front on it that we can decorate later and turn it into something that we want. But right now, what I really want to do is get that glued in right there. Okay. Alrighty. Well, this doesn't have to tuck in very much. Actually, I think I'm going to start it right here. Okay. And now I'm going to tuck it in. Oops. Okay, so this is our flip spot here, our tip-in glue down spot that we usually use washi tape for. And so I need something to cover this and something to cover this. And like I said, I want to start out with it being kind of generic. I think on this side, this will be pretty because it is, that's not really cut straight there. Okay. All right. Now then I want to put some of this paper right here. Let's see. Okay. And I scored it just a little bit. So it'd be easy for me to see where to cut it. And then we're going to just glue that right on there. But I'm going to go ahead and ink it first because I actually remembered to do that. You'd think I would never forget as much as I enjoy inking things, but I get to thinking about time and trying to hurry, and then I forget. Okay. Now we're going to use some of this time because this is a heavier paper, so. Okay. I wanted to make sure I didn't ooze glue out in here. But I did a little bit. All right. So there's this. And this is where our little journal goes. And it'll stick out a little bit, which is fine. So now we need to decorate this front. And what I'm going to do on the front, I think, is music paper. Let me grab some real quick. Okay, I found this music paper, and I turned it over, and there's this lovely picture here. So I may redo my whole plan and let that picture be my focal point on this, and I won't have to worry about trying to pretty it up later. It'll just be done. Something satisfying about that. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to trim right here. Get things out of the way. Too much junk in the way. Okay. And then I'm going to trim right here. And then let's see where. I'm going to go ahead and trim on this side. And then I'm going to put this here and use it to measure. And I'll trim it there. And we've got this pretty picture to put on the front. And I really like that. So, it makes me happy. So let's ink it, of course. Lots of times these old music papers I find are so torn up that the covers of it are not even pretty. This one, the cover was torn off, but at least it was really pretty, and so I could use the cover, which is nice, because I can't always use the cover. Some of them are so deteriorated you have to Mod Podge them onto anything in order to get them to actually work. So this is kind of a extra good thing, extra good. Alrighty. I want it like that. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So there's our envelope. That's going to be our pocket, tip-in pocket to hold our little bitty envelope journal. And there we go. I love it. I hope you do too. I hope you enjoyed this and it'll inspire you to get out some envelopes and play. God bless you. Bye-bye.